3 problems occur when you move a project manager to a new project and another project manager takes over the current project that they are working on. Number 1, production and profit decline because the new project manager doesn't understand the work. Number 2, the field crews don't have a relationship with the new PM and they keep bugging the first PM with their issues. And then thirdly, customer satisfaction goes south because the owner or general contractor likes and trusts the first project manager, but doesn't connect with the incoming PM. This is Eric Anderton, and you're listening to Construction Genius, a leadership masterclass. Thomas Edison said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. If you're a construction leader, you know all about the perspiration, and this show is all about the 1% inspiration that you can add to your hard work to help you to improve your leadership. Welcome to Construction Genius. My name's Eric Anderton, and in this episode of the podcast, we're going to talk about how to ensure a smooth handoff from project manager to project manager when you have to take one project manager and shift them to another project, and a new project manager is coming in to take their place. This kind of stuff happens quite frequently in construction companies. One of my executive coaching clients, an up-and-coming high-performing project manager, who for the sake of the podcast I'll call John, just got assigned to a cherry 2-year project. The work is complex and exciting, and because of that, and another significant reason that I'll share at the end of the podcast, he is super pumped up. In the next couple of weeks, John faces a challenge. He's currently overseeing a project for an important client, and he wants to avoid the problems that I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast. They're at the top of his mind, and he wants to make sure that there's a smooth transition to the new PM who is going to take over responsibility for completing the project that he's currently working on. In our discussion, we talked about how he was going to face these challenges, and he brainstormed some ideas to overcome them. Here's an uncomplicated 3-step process that John developed. Number 1, prepare for and conduct a PM to PM handoff meeting. Secondly, introduce the new PM to the field team running the work. And then thirdly, schedule time with the general contractor overseeing the project and introduce the incoming new project manager. So my client is a subcontractor working with a general contractor. If you're a general contractor, obviously, and you were going through one of these transitions, you would just replace the GC with the client. Okay, so in this podcast episode, we're going to explore why each step is vital and how executing them contributes to John's ability to get going on his new project without distractions. So firstly, let's look at preparing and conducting a PM to PM handoff meeting. Shoddy handoff meetings create tremendous problems. John's very busy, and it would be really easy for him just to show up and check the box of doing a handoff with the incoming PM and hope for the best, without giving much time and attention to the quality of the meeting. So instead of doing this, he's committed to blocking out a half day to prepare for that handoff meeting with the new PM. He's going to get all his thoughts down on paper so that when he goes into that meeting, he's going to hit all the highlights, all the issues, all the challenges, everything that needs to be done in order for the project to continue on a profitable trajectory about improving production. And they listen to his feedback about taking care of client concerns. The problem is they aren't as familiar with the new PM. So John is going to bring the new PM out to the site, walk the job, introduce him to the field team. And he's not expecting the new PM to have an instant bond with the field team. Obviously, the PM's going to have to show up and step up and prove that he's on their side, so to speak, and can deliver their needs and meet their expectations. But he wants to do whatever he can to ensure that the field and the office continue to work in harmony. So as the new PM is beginning to get comfortable with the project and the people building the work, the final step is to introduce the new PM to the general contractor. Construction is personal, and you may think that a client is doing business with your company because of your quality and your reputation, when in fact, they work with you because of the quality of the relationship they have with a single individual. Typically, the person responsible for bringing their project in on time and under budget. The GC who is overseeing John's current project enjoys working with him. They know that he'll take care of his portion of the scope without having to be bird-dogged, and he even wrangles some of the lower performing subs to get their acts together and make sure that the project is moving forward. The GC has John on speed dial, but he needs to get redirected to the incoming PM as the contact point. That's why John will introduce the new PM to the GC, allowing him to build a personal relationship. Now, of course, John could do all of this work and failure can still occur. Even with his best efforts, the new PM may struggle, production could dip, and the GC may wish he was still on the project. However, John is doing everything that he can to ensure a smooth transition to the new PM by preparing and executing an on-point PM to PM handoff meeting, introducing the new PM to the field, and getting time with the GC to build a bridge to the incoming project manager. Now, this new job that John is going to is a doubly sweet project for him. At the top of the podcast, I mentioned how pumped he is because the new project is long-term and it allows him to continue to grow and contribute to his company. In addition to that, the site is only 2 minutes from his house. And this is going to cut his commute by 1 hour and 28 minutes. He is super pumped up about that. In construction, change is constant and you need to manage it well. Shifting PMs from one project to another happens all of the time. It doesn't have to result in frustration for the incoming PM, the field, or your customers if you follow John's process. Now, your up-and-comers need help. Do you have PMs or executives making a vital contribution to your company whom you'd like to continue to grow and progress? Consider getting them an outside coach with deep industry experience, someone who helps them identify and overcome their challenges and develop processes like the one described in this podcast. If you're the owner or CEO of your construction company, and this sounds interesting to you, book a short 10-minute conversation with me to explore if and how I can help. I'm going to put a link in the show notes that you can click on to view my schedule and reserve a time. And I'm happy to have a quick conversation with you about any of the folks that you have who may need some assistance, and we can figure out how I may be able to provide that assistance. Appreciate you listening to Construction Genius here today. Take this process, use it in your organization, and thank you for listening. Today's episode was brought to you by the Construction Conclave. If you as a construction leader would like to develop your skills and get involved in a community of like-minded construction professionals who are focused on building healthy teams, profitable projects, and long-term successful businesses, then the Construction Conclave is for you. It's a private, invitation-only group of construction leaders that are focused on developing their leadership skills. We do training every single month online that looks at how to become a better leader in a very practical, straightforward way. We also have other events that build community and camaraderie so that you can associate with others who are interested in developing their skills as leaders. If you'd like more information and to see if you qualify for participating in the conclave, feel free to reach out to me, eric@ericanderton.com. Thank you for listening to this episode of Construction Genius. Hope you found that 1% of inspiration to help you in the next few days. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review on iTunes, share it with other construction leaders who you think would benefit, and thanks again for listening.